Since 2002, you've seen Austin Woman magazine inspiring, celebrating, and supporting the women of Central Texas, really amplifying those voices of those who they say believe no dream is too big. And now in the magazine's 20th anniversary, a huge change is on the way, and it's all in the name of diversity, inclusion, as well as ownership. And this is a loaded question.
Sure.
How do you all feel? The moment is here.
Oh my gosh. First thing that comes to mind is absolutely exhausted. Just the emotions and just even the culmination to this day, just all the pieces that go into it, and of course wanting it to be perfect.
I'm not sure if it's quite hit me yet because it's such a huge moment.
Well, after 20 years, Melinda Garvey will step down as CEO, and Shuronda Robinson will be the new CEO. And in an unprecedented move, the magazine will have a group of new owners serving at the magazine's helm. Here's a look at the latest cover showcasing all of those new owners. And I did sit down, as you just saw, with Melinda and Shuronda to discuss the path forward. So how did this happen?
I can't wait to hear this from your perspective.
Yeah, from my perspective, right. So I had gotten to know Shuronda because she actually won one of our Women's Way Business Awards for our I Am Austin Woman, which is sort of our Lifetime Achievement Award, if you will. And I'd gotten to know her then, and then she served on the selection committee with me. And so I'd gotten to know her a little bit, and I just knew I loved the way she led, I loved the way she managed, I love how calm she was versus my crazy all the time, right? And so I was always drawn to her. So I knew right then she was the next person I was going to approach. And I didn't know, and I don't know that much about her. I didn't sort of know. All these women are super busy and have their own really, businesses and crazy lives. But again, I mean, maybe I'm misremembering this, but I remember kind of just, well, what would you think about? And you're like,
and I was thinking
yes.
The same thing at the same time.
Well, and the crazy thing is to follow on. So this was when I was just talking to her about becoming an owner. And then once she said yes, which was sort of immediate, like, yeah, I'm really interested in this. Well, then subsequently, I didn't know this, but our minds were both churning. And I started talking to my husband. I'm like, I want her to be the CEO. She needs to not only be one of the owners, she needs to run it because her family has this background and she's the right person. And so, yeah, it was kind of crazy how
it was.
So when that happened, when that question was asked of you, what was your immediate reaction?
Did you ask? Because I think I asked her. It was one of those conversations where we were both thinking it so loudly in our heads that we probably heard each other say it. And I was like, I want to be an owner, but I want to do more. And I think she said, well, I wanted to ask you if you could do more, and it just happened and it was done.
We were both on the same
on the same page with it. It just makes sense for me, as Melinda shared. My background is in publishing, and I'm a journalist by nature and by training, and so to me it feels like going home.
Take me back to the moment where you said it's time for a monumental shift for Austin Woman.
When you've done something 20 years, you start reflecting a lot and really thinking about what's next. And I knew what we had committed to, especially deeply these last several years in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that was definitely at the forefront of my mind. How do I continue doing this? Austin has exploded, even while we were all locked away in our houses. How do I continue doing this? And so it was really the moment that it was, I thought about it for a long time. At the moment, the epiphany moment came when I was sort of like, hold on a minute. I don't have to do this by myself. Why does it have to be one woman? My first question is, okay, why does it have to be a white woman doing this? Why does this have to be one woman? And if I truly want to continue this legacy that I think that we have created, but it's an ongoing commitment, right? It doesn't stop. How could I build a structure that would actually allow for that?
So let's now talk about that structure, because a lot of companies, they preach diversity, equity, and inclusion, and there maybe is one training and then that's it. But you really are putting this into action.
Well, there are 8 of us total right now, but we actually have structured the company to allow for 10 equal owners. And basically, we have 2 slots open, and they will need to meet, our diversity criteria. In addition to the business and influence and the things that we're looking for, and the passion and the commitment. But this is, and the way that we've actually structured the legal documents is if, 20 years from now, I don't know if I'll make it that long, but anybody wants to, leave and sell their share, for example, the board has to approve. So the whole idea is this becomes generational. This becomes so that others then can come in and carry this torch. And it will, by its nature, be diverse, because the women who are passing that baton are going to be passing that. So it's not a pledge that we all sign to say, okay, yeah, we're all sort of committed to this, but depending on what comes along. No. This is really built into the ownership structure, and we were very purposeful about that. Knowing that the thing that I am, have this deep passion and have had this deep passion and still have, others have as well, and are willing to support me on this journey. And that's what that's what Austin Woman is all about.
I know that you share that passion as well, and you're such a force in the community. What is your vision now for Austin Woman?
My vision, and the vision that we share as owners, is to ensure that Austin is the place. If you are a professional woman, if you're a woman in business, if you own your own company, that this is the place for you to grow and thrive. And that there's an ecosystem that is supported by all of the amazing women that live and work in this community, and that Austin Woman Magazine and all of the platforms that we provide are at the center of that.
And there was a lot more to this conversation. We tell you about the new owners and how this structure could become a model for companies not only in Texas but across the country. We will post that on KXAN.com this evening.